I'm a procrastinator, compulsive one. I was supposed to dress up for this, and now I'm in a t-shirt and camo pants. And I'm not the only one. 1/5 of all adults and half of all students procrastinate. I took a survey. I grabbed 40 eighth graders and I asked them how many days before a project that we did earlier this year did they actually finish the project. We had 7 days to do this. All it was, we had already written the essay for it. All we had to do was take the essay, glue it on a poster board, add some cool stuff. Should have taken 15 minutes. 50% of the students finished it the day before. 12 finished it the day of. So clearly this is a problem. And at this point, I'm wondering, why do we procrastinate so much? Have you ever heard of nature versus nurture? Essentially, some people believe that genetics plays the biggest role in our lives. How we look at people, how we look to people, how we taste, smell, all that stuff, and how plays the biggest role in how we view the world. Other people believe in nurture. What we grew up as, or what our parents taught us, the environment, etc. And I want to know, is procrastination genetic or is it environmental? Because my dad's a procrastinator, so either he taught it to me or it's genetic. Either way, I can blame him. Now, procrastination is usually caused by a fear of failure. Basically, you don't want to do the work. What's the point? You're just going to fail. And a fear of failure comes from anxiety. Anxiety is a genetic disorder. Further proof is a 2018 study found out that procrastinators tend to have a larger amygdala. The amygdala is the part of the brain that controls emotions. What screws with your emotions? Anxiety. And that's not the only thing. There's a gene that controls your dopamine levels that also may be the cause of procrastination. Dr. Jink and a couple other people from the Technical University of Dresden, this is in an article on Medical News Today, found out that the TH gene, or the gene that produces the enzyme tyrosine hydrolysis, which controls dopamine levels, may cause procrastination on account of the fact that because of a stronger gene will have less dopamine levels and a weaker gene will have more dopamine levels, and more dopamine levels lead to more impulsive behavior, such as impulses to play GTA instead of getting your project done. But that's not it, because half of all students procrastinate, not half of all kids, half of all students. So maybe there is something wrong with our school system that makes us procrastinate through environmental uses. A psychologist by the name of Mari Nemeko states this absolutely perfectly. A student, like me, will be late on assignment, so he crams. His brain gets flooded with adrenaline, and then the next day he gets a decent grade. So the next time he goes, he thinks, hey, I can just do this last minute, I get a nice adrenaline boost, I'll get a decent grade, and I have all this free time. So he does it again, and lo and behold, he gets another decent grade. So he does this again, and again, and again, and again, and again, until he's out of high school, and suddenly decent doesn't cut it. He's this adrenaline junkie, and now, in the world where you have to be the best you can, he's used to being eh. Now, the most common kind of parenting also may cause procrastination. Now, this common kind of parenting is known as authoritarian parenting. That controlling, you can't do this, you have to do that, that kind of controlling parenting that everyone hates, but then again, everyone does. When a teenager says he's never going to treat his kids like this when he grows up, and ends up treating his kids like that when he grows up. And this can cause one, two, or all of three things. One is a fear of failure, aka the leading cause of procrastination. This fear of failure is, I don't want to do the work because I'll just fail, and my parents aren't going to like that when I fail. Another one is actually silent rebellion, because kids don't like authoritarian parenting. It's not exactly the kind of, you can do this kind of thing, it's like the no. And thus they rebel by making something that will make their parents mad, and the one thing that can make their parents mad that they can control is their grades. And the one way to lower their grades is by procrastinating. The last and most unexpected way that we get taught by authoritarian parents to procrastinate is actually a dependence. Because of how controlling the parents are, the child expects to have his hand held through everything because he's so dependent on them to control him. Thus, when they stop doing so after he gets to a certain age, he'll just sit there and he'll wait. He'll wait for his parents to come, and they never come. So at last minute on the assignment, he crams, his brain gets flooded with adrenaline, and he becomes just like the first dude. But which is it? Is it genetic? Are the dopamine levels in our big piece of brain time controlling our things? Or is it environment? Are parents and teachers and the grading system teaching us? It's both. People with genetic disorders to procrastinate, although technically it isn't a disorder, are more susceptible to these nature styles. Just like genetic things in real life make us more susceptible to our environment. It's both nature and nurture. Some people have it more genetic, some people have more environmental. And depending on who you are, there's a multitude of ways you can fix this. If you think that you have a genetic problem with this, then just pop some Reglan or something else that lowers dopamine levels and hope for the best. If you think your parents taught this to you or the school system taught this to you, talk with your parents, tell them about how this parenting is kind of bad, and then go and Google how not to procrastinate. There's thousands of articles on it. And if none of those work, then just blame your parents. They caused this. They taught you, they passed it down through genetics. Just blame them.